The nation of Turkey today shot down a Russian jet, sparking fears of World War III. Immediately after the incident, the Turkish ambassador to the UN released a statement, as you can see here. It begins by addressing the Secretary General of the United Nations as Excellency. The letter goes on to say, yada yada yada, the Russians penetrated our airspace for a total of 1 mile lasting 17 seconds, and so we shot them down while they were in our airspace. End of story, sincerely Turkey. By now, you've all seen this map. This is courtesy of the Turks. It allegedly shows the flight path of the Russian jet. So we're supposed to believe that during those 17 seconds, Turkish jets were able to shoot down a Russian jet, which basically means they had to be at the right place at the right time, wouldn't you say? Now, a fighter jet traveling at 250 miles per hour or at stall speed would take about 15 seconds to go a mile. Now, if a fighter jet is feeling cozy and delicious, they usually fly at about 500 miles an hour, which puts the traveling time for 1 mile at about 8 or 9 seconds. And in the case where the fighter jet was hauling ass at Mach 2, it'd only take about 4 or 5 seconds to do a mile. So already the story is looking pretty shady. Here's the flight path the Russians put out just a few hours ago. They show their jet not even entering Turkish airspace. And that's going to be an important point because Turkey's letter to the UN clearly states they attacked the Russians in Turkish airspace. Otherwise, it's an act of war. But let's say we do believe the Turks and their flight data. That realistically only gives them about 10 seconds to get in range, lock on, fire the missiles, and have the missiles hit, which is practically impossible. So that means their statement has to be a lie. And therefore, this was an ambush. Now here's some facts you may not know about Turkey. A couple of years ago, they were held responsible for the Armenian genocide. Now that was long ago and that may be besides the point, but one of these pictures is the Turkish president and one of these pictures is not. Seriously though, here's some images from Turkey just a few weeks back, attempting another genocide of the Kurds. Remember, the Kurds are pretty much the only force fighting ISIS in Iraq right now. So is it the enemy of my enemy is my friend, or is it the enemy of my friend is my enemy? Here's some more facts. The number one benefactor of oil from the Islamic State is Turkey. Turkey is basically a revolving door for terrorist activity. They've even killed Americans in Turkey just recently. We Are Changed did an excellent piece on that, and there will be a link in the description. Bottom line is, Turkey really has no business being in NATO. But to be honest, I don't blame the Turks. Apart from their politics, they have a beautiful culture, a rich history, and the people I've met from Turkey are wonderful. The problem here is the terrorists. And if we were serious about winning the war on terror, we would arrest the leader of ISIS. He's right there, folks. Everybody knows this is the leader of ISIS. ISIS is a proxy army, and Obama bin Laden, is their leader. Every time you hear about an ISIS attack, it's really Obama bin Laden. The Paris attacks, Flight 926, MH17, the Russian fighter jet, that's Obama bin Laden. This man is so desperate for World War III, it's obvious. Why? Because that's the only way they think they'll get reelected in 2016 for some reason. It's a process of elimination. They know they won't win the next election cycle by words alone, and so their only hope is all-out war or a state of emergency that postpones the elections. That's the only thing that really makes sense here. Besides, it's tough to have an election in the middle of a nuclear war. The only reason they started a revolution in Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen, was to drag Russia into war. The only reason they created ISIS, ladies and gentlemen, was to drag Russia into war. They downed Flight 9268 through their proxies so that Russia would go all in. And now that they're all in, Obama bin Laden green-lighted the Turkey op to push things to the brink. Don't think for a second Turkey did this without the okay from Obama. Obama bin Laden is not just the supreme leader of ISIS, he's also the supreme leader of NATO. Not only did our proxies down this Russian fighter jet, our proxies took out a Russian rescue helicopter today using one of our TOW missiles. The proof is right there. These are our weapons, and unfortunately, these are our people. And Obama bin Laden is their supreme leader. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, then you must be a libtard, and that makes you complicit to the crime. So what do we do? What do we do when the enemy is both foreign and domestic, and in charge of our armed forces and our government? Well, we need to impeach them. We need to impeach Obama bin Laden. We need to arrest him and dissolve his entire administration before he really does spark World World War III. This is literally a matter of national security. The world needs Congress to impeach Osama bin Laden before it's too late.